What's going on, guys? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I'm back with another Unearthed Arcana to Xanathar's Guide to Everything comparison video. We're talking about the very first Ranger subclass update. So this one is going to be the Gloomstalker Ranger. Previously, this was the Deep Stalker Ranger, or the Deep Stalker Conclave, depending on whether you're looking at the Light Art Underdark Unearthed Arcana or the revised Ranger article, which is one we're going to be looking at because Revised Ranger came out later, so that's the most current version. A couple things I did want to say about Ranger. This is the first time we've received new Ranger subclasses in a published source, and there's been other situations like that, like we didn't receive any Druids until this book. But one thing that's worth noting is that every subclass that they've added for Rangers get additional spells, so that's something. But the existing two classes from the Player's Handbook, the Hunter Ranger and the Beastmaster Ranger, don't get specific spells, and I think that was a severe that's an oversight that needs to be corrected. That if you're going to give every subsequent class access to 5 additional spells, that don't count against the spells known, and considering a Ranger knows, I think, at max 11 spells known, that's 5 extra ones, and sometimes ones that they don't even normally get. I think that Wizards highly need, it should be high priority to go back and give us a free, either Unearthed Arcana, Sage Advice, Errata, whatever you want to call it, to give the Hunter Ranger and the Beastmaster Ranger 5 kind of free spells as well. Let's just pop up real quick and see. 11 spells at level 19. 11 spells. So 5 more is big. So let's see what we started out with here when it was the Deep Stalker in Revised Ranger here. So Underdark Scout. On your first turn during combat, you gain a +10 bonus to your movement speed. If you use the attack action, you can make 1 additional attack. You are also adept at evading creatures that rely on dark vision. Such creatures gain no benefit when attempting to detect you in dark and dim conditions. Additionally, when the DM determines if you can hide from a creature, that creature gains no benefit from dark vision. I believe this remains pretty much the same. So we start off with Gloomstalker Magic. We'll bounce back for that, but it was originally Underdark Scout. They changed it because they didn't want it to be a completely Underdark based. They just made it kind of a shadowy based Ranger. So now it's called Dread Ambusher. You give yourself a bonus to your initiative rolls equal to your Wisdom mod. So that's a great right off the bat. At the start of your first turn of each combat, your walk speed increases by 10 feet. So that's still there until the end of your turn. If you take the attack action on that turn, you can make 1 additional weapon attack as part of that action. And if that attack hits, it takes the creature takes an extra D8 of the weapon's damage type. So they actually made that even better. Again, I feel like there is a lot of flack, and I will agree with most people on the internet that a lot of it is rightfully so the sort of weakened state of the Ranger. I think it's a well-known thing. That's the reason why Revised Ranger as a PDF even exists, because Wizards of the Coast also agrees that Ranger is relatively weak class-wise, both base and subclass-wise, compared to a lot of other classes in the Player's Handbook. I think specifically you need to test them against a Paladin, as a Paladin is the same D10 hit die, martial archetype with half spellcasting, and I think Paladins get a lot more benefits and a lot more things that they just have that get better as they level, like Lay on Hands and Smites, where Rangers don't really have anything like that. So this here, not only do we get what we saw in Unearthed Arcana, 10-foot movement speed increase for that turn, an extra attack on that first turn. So if you take, so the first turn, you just make 1 extra weapon attack, and if you hit, that does an extra D8, so that's for free, and Wisdom modifier to your initiative, so that's great. Then we had Deep Stalker Magic, which they kind of made this, kind of combined it into one here. You gain dark vision out to 90 feet. If you already have dark vision, your range increases by 30 feet, I believe. Range of 60 feet originally, not 90. If you already have dark vision, it goes up to 30. And then we kind of got the separate thing here. You're also adept at evading creatures that rely on dark vision. While in darkness, you are invisible to any creature that relies on dark vision to see you in that darkness. So that is a lot clearer than this whole statement that we read before. And then here we got spells. Once you gain, it counts as a ranger spell, but doesn't count against the ones known. It was Disguise Self, Rope Trick, Glyph of Warding, Greater Invisibility, and Seeming. It is now Disguise Self, Rope Trick, Fear, Greater Invisibility, and Seeming. So they removed Glyph of Warding for Fear. Alright, then at level 7, we have Iron Mind here. You gain proficiency in Wisdom saving throws. Here it is, I think it's a little bit more, it's a little better, because it says you gain proficiency in Wisdom saving throws, and then if you already had it, you gain Intelligence or Charisma, your choice. So they just clarified a little bit there. 11 here, we had Stalker's Fury. Once on each of your turns, when you miss with an attack, you can make another attack. So potentially on that first turn, you're making your regular 2 attacks, a third attack on your first turn, and if one of those 3 misses, you can make essentially a 4th. Let's see if that stayed the same. Once on each of your turns, when you miss with a weapon attack, you can make another weapon attack. So that's exactly as it was. We had Shadowy Dodge, or this is Stalker's Dodge. Whenever a creature attacks you but doesn't have advantage, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage on the creature's attack roll. You can use this feature before or after the attack roll is made, before the outcome is determined. Now it is Shadowy Dodge. Whenever a creature makes an attack roll against you that doesn't have advantage on the roll, you can use your reaction to impose disadvantage. You must use this feature before you know the outcome of the roll. So that is pretty much the same. This is, I'm going to say, for your kind of no-frills ranger, if you will, this is... Hunter Ranger is nice, but this may be better in my opinion. And again, part of that comes from the fact that you've got great spells like Disguise Self. Doesn't really make a lot of sense to me for a ranger, but it's still a useful spell. You can't argue that. Rope Trick is situational, but when you need it, it's huge. Fear is never bad. Greater Invisibility doesn't come to level 13, but a ranger attacking with advantage is pretty great, especially if you are running Revised Ranger. You have all those other nice features at the start. And then, let's be honest, Seeming's level 17, so it'll be rare that you get to it, but it's still a good spell. Anything that gives you bonuses to your initiative is never bad. So you have that going for you. You have that extra attack and movement speed on the first turn, plus the extra damage. Dark Vision, which is great because it allows you to play a class, like, say, if you wanted to be a human, or you wanted to be a halfling, or things like that, you now have access to Dark Vision, and you're invisible to creatures that are using their Dark Vision to find you, making you an even bigger threat in the dark and in the shadows. Proficiency in Wisdom saves is great because as a ranger, you're starting with, I think, Dex and, I want to say, Intelligence. Or maybe it's Strength and Dex. Now you have Wisdom at level 7, and if you have a slot open, you might be able to even snag Constitution as a saving throw if you wanted with Resilient. It gives you 3 proficiencies, which are the 3 most common: Dex, Wisdom, and Con. 11 is... This is there's sort of a thing that martial classes get better at level 11. I'm not sure if this comes into effect for barbarians as much, but basically fighters get their 3rd attack at level 11. Paladins get improved Divine Smite at a level 11, so that's just an extra d8 on their attacks. So this ability should be pretty potent. And this one, I think it's up there. I mean, I don't know if it matches up with the Hunter Ranger abilities like Horde Breaker or whatever it is, where you can attack everything, pretty much, in a 10-foot cube. But re-rolling an attack when you miss is... And it's nice because it doesn't say that it has to be against a different target, so you can miss and then just shoot that same target again as part of that same attack action. And then, yeah, Shadowy Dodge. You're a ranger. You don't have a lot of use for your reaction other than opportunity attacks. So being able to just give them disadvantage is fantastic. That sort of almost gives you a once per turn once per attack Cloak of Displacement, if you will, which is very cool. So, let me know what you guys think about the Gloomstalker Ranger. Like I said, I don't think it's not gonna wow you with its crazy abilities, but it is it's a solid class. Like I feel like I've had this reaction to several classes more recently, where they're good, but they're kind of meh and boring. I mean, I think this does what it needs to do very well, and I feel like I have more love for this subclass than I did for Drunken Master or Redemption Paladin. And, you know, I'm not like a huge fan of Rangers just because I feel like the revised Ranger really needs to come out, and we need to get that in our hands to really make this truly shine. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and join me next time when we'll be talking about the Horizon Walker Ranger. So, I'll see you next time.